Welcome to the 17th ever episode of the BP Show. I'm here with World Series of Poker bracelet winner and Texas Card House ambassador, Fireman Scott Dulaney. Scott, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Brian. Good to be here.
Sure thing. Great to have you. So, the people that follow you on Instagram, and you're doing YouTube stuff as well, you have a big following on a few different platforms now. Some of it's World Series of Poker stuff. Some of it's Texas Card House stuff. We see you're playing a little golf now. For the people that don't know what you're doing, or maybe for the people that do know what you're doing and following you, um, that want to get a little better idea of what you're up to these days, um, can you tell us what does the average day look like right now for Fireman Scott?
Pretty busy. But I like it that way, and I've kind of constructed it myself because I like to stay busy, and I'm trying to help poker grow in Texas the best I can. And so I've got a lot of little projects. But the Texas Card House has a Trailblazer series now. They have 5 different Trailblazer series per year. Plus, we have the World Series of Poker circuit events that are coming to Texas twice a year now. And then we have WSOP in Vegas in the summertime. So, I mean, pretty much year round now, we have tournaments that I'm playing and creating content and being an ambassador for Texas Card House and Texas Poker in general. And then in between all of those tournaments, I'm running cash games, playing in cash games at the Texas Card House, creating new stuff for beginners. Like I have some 1-2 true pot limit Omaha games, beginner level stuff, along with some classes and some etiquette classes at the Texas Card Houses in Houston. But yet I also brought Bryn Kinney, the number one winningest all time player, big time high roller. I also brought him to Texas Card House and played a little PLO and mixed game stuff with him. So between tournaments, cash games, high stakes, low stakes, not to mention I'm the face of hijack poker, so I put in a lot of online time and help advise Texas Card House on building that app. So on top of all that, I got a wife and kids, and so I got a lot of stuff going on. I stay pretty busy.
Hey, that's awesome, man. Now, you're not just a poker pro. You won a World Series of Poker bracelet. That's a big deal. And you're doing a bunch of stuff in Texas, which is great. I mean, Texas Card House Ambassador, that's a big deal as well. Um, we see you doing a bunch of stuff with that. But you're also involved with the WSOP. Now, how would you differentiate? And we know, I mean, if you know poker at all, you know Vegas is different than Texas, but Texas has some sharks too, and we know there's sharks in Vegas if you know anything about poker at all. Um, so how would you kind of, I don't know if compare is the right word, but I guess the right way to ask it is what is what's the life like in Vegas for a poker pro, but not only that, somebody that's won a WSOP bracelet.
You mean what's it like when I'm in Vegas?
Yeah, yeah. Like, what's it like being a pro in Vegas and just being there and playing, but then also knowing that you have a bracelet under your belt? Is that, I mean,
It,
do people kind of treat you differently in that fashion, or is it kind of just all
well,
one thing? Or
yeah, putting the bracelet on is certainly a big step. I mean, the week after I got my bracelet, I got the opportunity to play in a $25,000 PLO event, the biggest PLO event, biggest tournament I've ever played. So there's definitely you're in the league now of higher status. It allows you more sponsors, more recognition. Uh, it is cool, especially with somebody like me who wears it around, and I'm very proud of it, and so I show it to everybody. And And so, yeah, I definitely stepped into a whole new club with the bracelet, and I'm very proud of it. And yeah, I like being in Vegas. And I got a funny story. I was walking through a bar one night, and it was right after a high roller event had ended. So the bar was packed full of winners and high rollers, like guys with multiple bracelets were all sitting in the bar. And I come walking in, and some guy goes, "Oh, here he is. He's the bracelet guy, the bracelet guy." And I was like the smallest time guy in the room, but yet I was showing my bracelet off to everybody. Uh, so
That's awesome, man. Yeah, hey, a bracelet winner is a bracelet winner. I mean, that puts you in a realm with a special amount of people. And I mean, whether it's you, whether it's Bryn Kenny, whether it's Phil Ivey or Daniel Negreanu, I mean, a bracelet winner is a bracelet winner. So that's a big deal. Now, I have some footage that I wanted to play from YouTube. Uh, this one is courtesy of the Champions Texas room.
okay.
And now this is, I believe it's a PLO cash game, and getting the hand ready here. Uh, Now, take us through
Speaking of playing,
this one. This is
last
where
week after the
you
stream,
cracked a guy all in
uh,
for, I
went
think it was
PLO
like
on Florida this week,
$1,300 or
and
so.
Jimmy's wife played and ended up
If
winning.
you can
They
recall
put
the
some
hand, we
good
can
hands on
kind of
Jimmy.
watch it
Thought it was a lot of
and
fun.
walk through it as we
Yes.
go. Do you remember this hand at all?
Tia also played.
Oh, I don't, but
I thought it was somebody else. That was great.
We all played. It was fun. My wife was like so happy since she loved
Phil,
It was really cool.
Yeah.
We actually had,
Brand,
that was his goal.
we
Hey, we
create
actually had some people
together
last week come
much
down
all
to College Station because they saw us playing on stream. They're like, they're looking
having
like having a good time. We don't play PLO, but we're still going to come down here. They got in the Hold'em game. They played all night. They were able to, you know what? I'm just going to get a hotel.
It's kind of going in and out. Say that again.
Sure. I don't want to drive back to College Station.
it looks like a fun night
They had a
with all
great time. They had a lot of fun. And
right,
it's not just PLO up here. There's a lot of good Hold'em games as well.
guys played poker.
One of the days we'll play some
I
PLO.
can't really see
If y'all
cards,
want to
though.
play, put your name on
So
the
you have
building a game around
ace,
it. You
nine,
wanna play.
8, and a 2, and you just flopped
They've been playing a lot
two
of
pair.
12.
You just flopped two pair.
Yeah,
y'all slaughtered me in that last week.
So hopefully we'll make it a little
And
bigger. Maybe make it
the other guy has king 10 and a 3 and a 3. So he's got a pair of threes, and then you just turn the boat there on the turn.
Yeah. Well, this my buddy.
Or do you prefer high-low?
Oh, high low. That's how I grew. That's why I grew up playing.
Not the
Yeah, and I knew that answer, but I wanted you to tell me.
Yeah,
I prefer high-low.
When I was like 14, I used to play $100 heads up sitting.
Looks like I got it.
I was doing homework. Someone played. I would put the homework away and play heads up. That's like what I did. I was 14 or 15.
We're having some audio issues here. Kind of going in and out.
I never got to play in that.
Dang it. Hey, we can just kind of like
Did you?
Yeah, because it's so.
watch it, I guess. Man, this is because I wanted to show some footage on this, and I don't know what it is with the audio, but I at least wanted to show that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some fun games. I play in games like that pretty much year round. Like I said, those are all friends of ours. And, you know, we talked about Vegas a minute ago, but that's kind of the difference with Texas and Vegas is out there, it's mostly tournaments. I don't really mess around with cash games out there. I just believe the best cash games are here in Texas. They're friendly and fun, and you know, it's just a totally different vibe than Las Vegas and casino, you know, poker.
Yeah, and that's something I was thinking about before I was going to have you on the show when I was watching this stuff. And that game there, you guys are chatting, you know, just having a good time. Whereas Vegas, and it might just, I mean, you could just be playing a normal cash game in Vegas, and I just feel like it's way more intense. And I know you can attest to this or say if it's accurate or not. It just seems way more intense because you might be playing with high rollers, but it's Vegas, so you're playing with I mean, a good amount of the time, really good players, and Vegas is the mecca of poker, so there might be a lot of times where, especially for guys like you, you're playing with pros, so it's more intense in that fashion. Now, hopefully, we can get your audio going for this one. I really wanted to show um, these videos. The audio is fine with you now without the video. I really wanted to show these videos. If maybe we could just kind of watch it, if or we can try to chat while it's going on. That was the goal, to kind of chat while it's going on. This one is where you had Bryn on, and this is at Texas Card House, Austin. Now, I mean, you got a World Series of Poker pro to come to Texas Card House, Austin. But not only that, this guy is the all-time leader in poker tournament winnings at literally $80 million. Now, if you don't mind telling us, how did you get Brenda to come to Texas Card House?
Well, we were in Vegas last. And,
Yeah, if they're gonna start.
Ambrose Min click
and
button with aces.
Yeah.
the approach of like people studying and playing
Elfin,
video, they get into that mindset of like
he told me
This
that
guy's
the
in
guy
hand.
that they're playing with only one time is going to exploit
Uh,
that somehow because
play with me, baby. He said, all right, I'm there.
their head too much.
So
With a lot of guys that play
really moved there for poker,
solid, but they don't make the most money.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, they're just missing.
but
You gotta just get in there.
said I'd really like to come on and just play with me, and that's what Texas poker is really all about.
Got a couple of club draws for a couple of them.
Cash game poker means that we're all playing in social.
Fireman flopping the set of sixes,
Every-
deciding to come along.
We're very friendly, and so I wanted to invite him in, and we enjoyed.
No one had anything. Everyone's got something.
Yeah, it seemed like a great time, and man, that was so cool that
All
you
coming
got to
in.
have him in there. Still having some audio issues, dang it, but I definitely wanted to show this stuff because I
Change
think it's
the
great
set of
content.
sixes still in
Now, this is a hand with, and it didn't seem like, and you can say if this is accurate or not,
Yeah,
it didn't
couldn't
seem
shut you
like
down.
you had that much action with Bryn throughout this game. I was kind of watching it, but this hand, it was kind of like a check down, but you got him for a few $100. But I mean, just really cool that you had him there, and I just wanted to show that. Now, the audio is good when we do this. I don't know what it is with the audio with the videos. I got to get that figured out, but I definitely wanted to show that stuff. Now, when it comes to you being a pro and being out in Vegas and stuff, do you have any stories with guys like, say, Phil Ivey or Daniel Negreanu? Who doesn't, I mean, you didn't have to actually like interact with them. Maybe just stuff you saw, or did you actually have some interactions with any guys like that?
Yeah, a few times. Less with Phil Ivey because he's just not that much of an outgoing person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I've talked to him a couple of times just as a fan because I'm just a huge fan of poker, and those guys were the ones on TV when I first started playing. They're like a generation above me. And is kind of how I feel. I came in the moneymaker boom. Uh, but I played with Daniel, especially a lot of times, and he's a cool person. I love all of his content. I love being at the table with him. But I did ask him, "Are you ever going to come to Texas and play poker?" And he said, "Fuck no." Why would I? So, and then Phil Hellmuth, on the other hand, did come to Texas, and I had dinner with him and a big group of people and about 16 other people. And all of those 16 people just basically sat there quietly because me and Phil were arguing pretty loudly about who was the better PLO player. And I'll give it to you. You're the best tournament player of all time, the best bracelet winner, but I'll give you whatever you want. But if you think that I'm going to say you're better at PLO than me, you're out of your mind. You have to show me. So, um, yeah, that's the cool thing about poker is you can get really close to the best players in the world, and in tournaments, you might end up at the same table as them. Where you're never going to compete with a LeBron James or a Michael Jordan or somebody like that in their sport, but poker is a very unique social game where that does happen. You can get close to people who you've seen on TV and play with, and I've had nothing but good experiences, and I've been in poker a long time now, and I've always had good experiences with people like that.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it's like and golf is a little harder to do this, but golf is a great and I know you're a golfer. Golf is a great sport because if you got the game and you got the money, you can qualify for the US Open. But poker is, as you were saying, it's even more like open to you can play with the pros because and yeah, you got to have the money for that too, but you could just sit down at a table with a pro as opposed to golf having to qualify, or like you said with the other sports, like football and basketball, 9 times out of 10 having to play college unless you're freaking Kobe or LeBron or Kevin Garnett coming right out of high school. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%. That's what makes the game great. And to your Phil Humuth stuff, uh, he came to my hometown poker room in Ypsilanti, Michigan. It was years ago, just a little rink-a-dink poker room, kind of where I grew up playing. And so that doesn't surprise me that Phil came to Texas to play because even though he's named like the poker brat and like he gets ticked off at players, I think at the end of the day, he's a genuine guy and he's friendly in a sense of he'll go out of his way and like play in games and like he went to a rink-a-dink poker room in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I mean that's a big deal for just like the local players there. Um, so he's a good guy in that fashion, and I think Phil means well just in general. I think he's a good, genuine guy, but some people might not like him because of his attitude at the poker tables. But that's been his mo for his entire career. That's why he's nicknamed the Poker Brat. It's Phil Hellmuth. And for the people that watch poker, some people might not like him. Some people might like him because he's entertaining, but you can't take away the fact that he's one of the greatest players ever. And then when it comes to Phil Ivey, yeah, like you said, it doesn't surprise me at all with that as well that you said he was so focused and doesn't really talk to people. That's why they call him the Tiger Woods of poker because he's not only like listed as a GOAT, but he has that same kind of mentality and demeanor and approach as Tiger Woods in a sense that, I mean, just totally focused, like
And he's black.
no BS. Yeah. Yeah. And that has something to do with it too. So yeah, I mean, that's just so cool to have those interactions with the pros and um, that's awesome stuff. Now, for the state of poker in general, where would you say the game is as of today? Do you think it needs some improvement? Do you think we're getting enough players? How are the places doing financially? And especially like the Texas Card House stuff and poker in Texas as well. But really, just in general, where would you say the state of poker is today?
Well, right now it's the best it's ever been for players, and I can speak directly because I am a Texas poker player. I do it every day of my life. I'm stuck 2 grand right now. I've been playing all day. Um, I grind it out in the streets every day, and this is the best poker we've ever seen as far as everything. We have the most people playing, the most wide varieties of games, tournaments, cash games. Texas is booming right now and it's blowing up. And the World Series of Poker is coming here twice a year now, circuit events. So there's never been a better time than now to be a poker player. And even outside of Texas, I mean, the World Series of Poker every year is getting higher and higher for the main event, and everything's getting bigger and bigger. And now you've got Bahamas in December, and the Wind's doing a big event in December. So nothing is slowing down. It's only speeding up and only getting better. And we haven't really scratched the surface, I believe, on marketing dollars. Once Texas and Texas companies understand poker more, well, there's going to be an even bigger boom than now. Once corporate dollars start realizing what a big asset poker is, once Texans realize it, we're going to hit a whole new level that's going to be bigger than anything we've ever seen.
That's awesome. Yeah, and having the World Series events in Texas is awesome. They're having one at Texas Card House. Is it April 27th? Is that right? Are you going to play in that?
Yes, I'm really hoping to add. I do not have a World Series of Poker circuit ring, so I'm hoping to add one this year at the first ever circuit event in Texas. That would be really something. It could be a main event or a PLO event. I'll probably try them all.
For
but
sure.
but yeah, I'll definitely be there for sure at every WSOP event in Texas. I'll be there with boots on, as they say.
Awesome, man. Yeah. So how did you get, and you're doing a bunch of stuff. I mean, like a bunch of stuff with Texas Card House, and you're an ambassador, and I think you represent it really well. Uh, how did you get into like where you're at now with Texas Card House?
Well, I when I first discovered YouTube, I'm a little bit old for the YouTube generation, to be honest with you. But when I discovered what it was, I started playing around with ideas, and I contacted Texas Card House back during COVID, and I said I want to create a character that's kind of like a heel, a bad guy wrestler, a Texas gambler guy that goes around and gambles and does funny stuff. And it was during COVID, and I don't think they were really like, we don't know about this. And so I kind of went on and did it on my own. And I got, I was kind of the number one draft pick of the Mattress Mac Poker Stallions, which was a poker team from Texas, from Houston. They got to go to the World Series of Poker and play a bunch of events. And not only was I the first kind of draft pick for the Poker Stallions, but I was the first one to win a bracelet. And after that happened, you know, a few years had passed, and Texas Card House approached me and they said, we are looking to have an ambassador, and congratulations on your win, and we'd like to talk. And so when I came back, I said, okay, well, let's take this a little more serious. Instead of me playing a character, let me play a character that's a little more myself. I'll cut my hair and put a suit and tie, and maybe not a tie, but I'll put a suit and a cowboy hat on, and I'll come back home because Doyle Brunson had just died. And Texas, like I said, is growing, and I have a lot of influence here. So I said, how about I come back and try to play a little more of a leadership role, and a true ambassador between the players and the company, the house, the poker world, and they liked the idea, and so that's how I got started. But it was about 5 years of kind of doing things on my own, pretending that I had sponsors, that when I didn't have sponsors, losing my own money in tournaments and spending my own money on marketing things that, they weren't real. Like, for instance, I would go play a live stream and I would hold up a beer can as if I was sponsored by the beer company, and I would pay two girls to stand behind me and all fake. I was making that shit up. You know what I mean? But I knew, like, I needed some practice on how to advertise for companies, and I needed people to think that that's what I did. So I kind of faked it until I made it.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, and I mean, you are where you're at now, and I think you're in a good spot. If for those that follow poker, I think you have a great following, and there's a lot of people that look up to in that sense, and and that kind of thing. When you go to Vegas, how often do you go to Vegas? And I know we kind of talked about Vegas already, but kind of like a more in-depth look at it. I'm curious to know, especially with you being a poker pro and a
Well,
bracelet winner.
well,
Uh,
I'm
Go
a
ahead.
little most people because I go all summer, but I take my family. I've got a wife and two young kids, uh, and I take them with me all summer. So we've been doing it now since the Mattress Mac Poker Stallion summer, which was 2022. And so my kids grow up there. They have their birth. My son Atticus has his birthday party out there, and we're there all summer. And it is a grind. And by the end of it, we hate it. But it's already the beginning. It's still January, and I'm already ready to go again.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's, you know, being a poker player, if you want to play at that level, it's a grind, man. But, you got to love the game. And me personally, I love poker. And I'm trying to get on your guys' level, man. I feel like I have the game for it, but I mean, it just like I grew up watching Phil Ivey. I grew up watching all those guys. Phil Ivey is my favorite player ever. And he said he said you got to put in the hours and it's based on field. But then I feel like even guys like that look at numbers and stuff and do the math. Are you more of a numbers guy or a field guy?
No, I'm not a numbers guy. I'm definitely a field guy if you're going to put it into like two categories. But I will say that when the PLO solvers came out, I spent a good deal of time studying. I studied a lot harder and a lot longer and more in depth than I think most people do. But that just means that once understand the solvers a little better, then that kind of gives you a groundwork to work from. And then, I take different lines off of my general, plat. You know what I'm saying? Like the solvers gave me a good base to work off of. So I did do a lot of studying. And before the solvers, I read every book I could. But when I'm playing at the table, I very much am in game mode and I'm using everything about me to engage in battle and win the fight. And very little of it has to do with uh, strategy or solver stuff. It really for me is I'm in a fight or in a battle with someone and I'm good at it. You know, good at it. I've just always been good at games and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I feel like poker is very situational, and that's one of the fun things about the game is you look at your chip stack, you look at people at your table's chip stack, how they're playing, and you know, and there's 52 cards in a deck, and whether you're playing PLO or Hold'em, uh, now PLO, you could. I was thinking about this earlier. PLO may be harder in a sense because you get more cards, so there's a possibility for more hands. But then you look at the other side of it, some people might think it's easier because you have that opportunity to get more hands and win some pots with more cards. Now, what's your opinion on that? Do you think PLO is harder than Hold'em or vice versa, or how would you compare the two?
Uh, well, Hold'em's an easier game. So, but once you move to like in Houston, the next level. So if you start playing like small cash game Hold'em in LA or Vegas or whatever, and you get ready to move to the next level, well, the next level would be like 510 or 1020, and then 2550 or 5100. Well, in Texas, you start out with Hold'em just like everywhere else, but then the next level is PLO. And So, and I think the kind of the deal is my brother who doesn't have any poker experience at all. But he has basic Hold'em experience because he's just everybody can basically play Hold'em. You can teach it to children in minutes. You know what I mean? And he could even beat me sometimes. You know, he could go all in without calculating anything or just and it's that's why it's such a widely played game because it is so easy. It's just really easy to play. PLO, on the other hand, is very hard for an amateur to play. My brother, who has no experience in poker, I would let him go play Hold'em somewhere, but I would never let him go play PLO. He has no chance. If you don't know what you're doing in PLO, it's very tricky because you can win in the short term. You can win a big pot or you can win a couple of days, and it makes you think that you can win or you're a winner at it. But in the long term, you really can't. The pros are going to win in PLO in the long term, like every time. My brother could never beat me in a month of PLO. You know what I mean? He,
Yeah.
he could get lucky a couple of times and hold him. He could never beat me in PLO ever, you know.
Yeah. For sure. No, that makes sense. And I wanted to bring up uh, Tiny House Tom. Now, he introduced me to you, which is awesome. I'm glad we made that connection. I'd love to have both of you guys on the podcast sometime. He's
Yeah.
actually in France now. Sounds like he's doing well. And he told me, we talked the other day, and he said he's going to play a WSOP event in Italy. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he does in that. Now, you guys are both, so you won a bracelet, he won a ring. But nonetheless, you guys are both WSOP champions. Now, how did you guys, and I believe it might have been the tournament of champions where you guys met. How did that interaction go? How did you guys meet? What's your story with Tiny House Tom?
Well, we just, like you said, it was that pretty much that simple. We played a tournament together. I believe it was the Tournament of Champions. And we just hit it off right away. You know, that's part of my game. I'm very opposite of Phil Ivey. I don't do much staring people down. Uh, but at the table, I prefer to get my information by talking and keeping things loose and keeping people relaxed. You know, I'm like, of the and so Tom is also like that. He's very easy to talk to and very approachable at the table. So you get the two of us together at the table. It's just, you know, we're gonna have a good time, and that's exactly what happened. And he's a cool guy, and we just, that's how it is. You meet a lot of friends at the poker table, and they introduce you to people, and it's a giant network and a big family, really. And but yeah, that's how we met at a poker table.
That's awesome, man. Now I'm gonna close it out with this. You've won a bracelet. You've done a bunch of stuff in poker. Um, Now give me one story. It could be a Texas Card House, could be WSOP. It could be a golf story. I know you're a golfer as well. Just one story, uh, a big or greatest story that you can think of. Whether it's poker or whether it's a big golf bet, just something along those lines. Give me a story or memory of you playing poker or making a big bet.
Okay, well, I'll tell you a story of a bet where the son of a bitch reneged on me. I won't even say his name, but I mean, this guy I play poker with a lot. He's a member at the biggest, nicest country club in Houston, and I'm a beginning golfer, and he bets me that I can't break 80 on his golf course, Carlton Woods. I can't break 80 in 2 years. And I get four chances in those 2 years because a guest member can only golf there four times. And the bet was my 2,000 to his 80,000. And everybody thought I was crazy. And the thing is I knew I could never break 80. I knew I was going to lose the 2,000. But, I was playing poker with the guy and he was losing a lot of money and it was a good golf course and I thought it was going to be fun anyway. So I made the bet and was sure he was going to pay it and all of this. And anyways, we're playing in a poker game and we get all the money in on the turn And he goes, "Do you want to run it 1 time or 2 times?" And I said, "Rip it." And he ripped it off once, and I won the pot. And he said, "Fuck you, the bet's off." He canceled the golf bet on me. So now I just go twice with him as to not piss him off.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Hey, Scott, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. We got to do this again if you're up for it. We'd love to have Tiny House Tom on here and you as well. Maybe we can make that happen. Maybe we can, have like a few more guests at a time, or whether it's just me and you. It's been a lot of fun, man, and I'm sure I might see you in person soon, or we can do this again soon, man. It was a lot of fun, and thank you so much, man, for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Brian. You should come out to WSOP with Tom this summer, or make a trip down to Texas.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm already in Texas. I live in Texas, so I go to the Texas Card House stuff. So yeah, I'll love to make a trip to one of the places, and yeah, we'll definitely make it happen.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thanks, Scott.